to get one. They're up in the IR office for heads of delegation. Once heads of delegation have got their copy, the rest of us, hoi polloi, can probably get one if we beg. But they will be given the widest possible circulation. The booklet itself is contained within the NAV guide, which is also launched this week at the conference, and the booklet will be available to access on the IALA website. So it's recommended to you in every possible form. We're going to send a liaison note to the IMO Maritime Safety Committee, advising them that the booklet has been approved by IALA Council, because the maritime voyage system, as it has been established, is actually within the ownership of IMO. It's part of SOLAS. It's an international system that has been adopted and established over so many years. So we will advise IMO of the new booklet. We could also advise IMO that it isn't substantially changed. It's just expanded to include the emergency wreck marking buoy, particularly, and also to include reference and a little bit of detail on other aids to navigation. But it has to have the widest possible circulation across the globe. When we came to the name, you could have guessed that we should have had a lottery, because we all had our own ideas that it should be changed to something else. It had been the IALA Maritime Voyage System for far too long, but thankfully the Secretary-General and the Council confirmed that the title shall be the IALA Maritime Voyage System because of its ownership by the maritime world and by IMO SOLAS particularly. That must be retained, but it should be and will be expanded to include all aids to navigation in the IALA toolbox. So the subtitle, you will note, is "and other aids to navigation." The scope was agreed. It has to be an inventory of all aids to navigation, and it should refer to recommendations, guidelines, and the NAV guide as a cross-reference on how to use them. Well, let's go forward. It's easier. So, the revision undertook to review and update the text, create new graphics and layout, add other aids to navigation, reposition and improve the world map showing where the regions system A and system B are, design a global fund cover. I'm sure you agree, after huge amounts of effort, a globe and a light and a buoy and a ship looks pretty good. There will be 3 versions. The red one is in English, the blue one is in French, and the yellow one is in Spanish. And refer to recommendation others and have a web-based version. The guidelines and recommendations, you've heard a lot about it. I won't go further, but there it is. There's the website. It's all available there. The voyage system continues to be comprised of fixed and floating marks, particularly the floating marks I'll go through now. The 6 categories being lateral, cardinal, and isolated danger, safe water, special, and emergency wreck marking buoy, always remembering that the marking of new dangers can be by lateral and cardinal marks as before. The original concept of the emergency wreck marking buoy was to produce, as I said earlier, something completely different, and it's blue and yellow alternate quick flashing light. Quite distinctive. Where it's been deployed, and it has been deployed a lot in the last 4 years, it has been hugely successful and instantly recognised. So it succeeded. The view that it was an emergency measure for the first 24 or 48 hours is changing. China MSA particularly have used it extensively, and in using it, they have left it on station for some considerable time because of its effect and being seen as something different. So the flexibility in the use of that is now greater than it was originally envisaged, and the recommendation on the use of the emergency wreck marking buoy will be revised with a new edition in the next period of committee sessions. The inclusion of other marks, lighthouses, sector lights, leading lights, major floating aids, yes, we still have some, auxiliary aids, and electronic and digital ACE navigation, including GNSS, DGNSS, and AIS as an aid to navigation. When it came to redesigning the chartlets and some of the graphics inside, it was difficult, to say the least, because as a committee of taste, we all had our own ideas. We needed to simplify, clarify, include the other ACE navigation, add the emergency recommending point and AIS. After many, many sessions, we came back to the original and tried to take the opportunity from the top left to the bottom right to simplify, clarify, but include all the other names in navigation. It had worked wonderfly like this as a booklet for 30 years. If you go onto the bridge of most SOLAS convention ships, it's stuck somewhere, and this is the chartlet, or a little card with the lateral card and other marks on it. So we mustn't change too much. There is no need. Similar challenges, looking for examples of ACE navigation to be included in the booklet. We all had our favourite photos or graphics, but in the end we came down to using diagrams rather than pictures to avoid favouritism in one area or another. And as I say, the booklet front cover was like nothing you've ever seen. We had so many versions and spent so much time on it. And like the top left there, the globe with Africa and the booklet coming out of Cape Town. But it's for 20 years, this, or maybe even longer, you never know. The last one lasted a long time. So being so specific to this conference, probably, you know, well. Then we tried lots of others. We got to this stage with different types of ship and different types of lights, and the wonderful Boyd Skittles developed by Japanese Coast Guard, and eventually finished up with this. Colours changed slightly, and it's a bit brighter and better than that, but that's how we got there. These are the people responsible, the council members particularly, committees for all their input, and the members of the A&M committee who worked very long and hard to make this happen. I really do hope it's going to be the success we planned, and it's going to last for 20 years because it's a milestone in IALA's history and in the history of Boyd systems or ACE navigation. I commend it to you. Do take it home, do read it, recommend it to your friends. It has a happy ending, we hope, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Duncan. The next speaker is Mr. Seamus Doyle. Seamus is Head of Engineering for the Commissioners of Irish Lights in Ireland, with responsibility for delivery of engineering strategy, planning, investment, design and maintenance of all Irish lights. For them to meet agreed performance standards, and he's a member of the Board of Commissioners of Irish Lights. He is currently the Vice Chairman of the EEP Committee, the most important committee of IALA. Also, he's on the IALA Policy Advisory Panel. He's a Chartered Engineer, a Fellow of the Institution of Engineering and Technology. He's a Fellow of the Royal Institute of Navigation. And also he's System Director for the DGBS of the General Lighthouse Authorities, the GLA of UK and Ireland, and Chairman of the Inter-GLA Engineering Committee. Seamus will talk about the evolution of traditional aids to navigation in an e-navigation world. Take the floor.
Thank you, Chairman, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is a joint paper with my colleague, Captain Kieran Higgins. All of us today share a common key objective: to meet the requirements for safe marine transport and protection of the marine environment. As aids to navigation providers, we provide a comprehensive mix of aids to navigation, commensurate with the volume of traffic and the degree of risk.